Welcome. This is the Amateur Fanboy YouTube channel, and we are going to do our 3.0 mock draft. My name is Mike Hurtaza.
And I'm Chase Aguirre.
We have Chase Aguirre here. And basically, this is just our collaborative mock draft. If you haven't checked it out, we've done a few already. And then myself, I've done my own. And then Chase will actually do his own as well. And then we actually have some other content where we kind of use the simulation and kind of guess and have fun with it. And then we accept all trades as another option. Check those out. But for now, we will start with the Jaguars. And I think maybe we should try to give a little more content. Because with Trevor Lawrence, it's kind of like, yeah, he's the first overall pick. There's not really much to it.
But on the interview I did with Jeff today, I kind of brought up...
Jeff who?
Jeff Kavanaugh from 105.3 The Fan. We'll be posting that hopefully after this. We'll see. But it will be posted at some point today. We talked about, and I brought up how I think the conversation should be more there, that Justin Fields could be considered at one, maybe even Zach Wilson. But I think maybe more Justin Fields, just because I still think he's the best quarterback in this draft. I think after the pro day and after everything we've seen, I think it's just no doubt that Justin Fields is the number one quarterback. And I know,
or at least that's what you think.
Yes.
I don't know. The thing is, from all that we've been hearing, I don't know if the NFL is as high as we think Of course, I think he's at least tied with Wilson for the number 2 option. I don't think he's the number 1. I think Trevor Lawrence, maybe he's not as hyped up as he should. Like, he's overly hyped up as a prospect, but him going to the Jaguars, I feel like there's nobody like really talking about it and really breaking it down.
So I'll bring this question to you before we start this mock. If you had to pick Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields for the Niners right now?
Trevor Lawrence.
Okay, so you still would take Trevor Lawrence. Okay.
Yeah. I think he's the best quarterback in the draft by far. Okay. Maybe not by far, but if I probably put the last 4 drafts together, like quarterbacks, in order of ranking them, maybe that's something that we can do. I'd probably put him at number 1.
Yeah.
I think he's just...
Definitely from the last one.
To me, he is the safest. He is the safest pick who has the highest ceiling, in my opinion. Okay. I think you are going to get a top 10 quarterback regardless of where he goes. I don't care if he's going to the Jaguars. But, yeah, I think Trevor Lawrence, of course, is the first pick. Yeah. And then we have the Jets. And look, we are trying to use what information we have from the internet. So this mock is not necessarily what they should do, but what we think will happen.
Right.
So with the Jets...
It's Zach Wilson.
It is Zach Wilson. If things change, and maybe... Look, from my understanding is they have already went through his family and have already like gone through and made sure like there's no issues. Like they're doing a lot of background checks on just Zach Wilson. And then there was a rumor supposedly that Zach Wilson had already purchased a home in the Jersey area, New Jersey, which I don't know if that was correct, but yeah, I have to think it's Zach Wilson.
I would think so too.
And then here comes the Niners. To me, it's really between the top 3, like Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence. Whoever's there at 3, you take. Yeah. Do I buy into the Mac Jones stuff?
No.
No. I should we? Yeah, maybe he's an option. Maybe all this talk about the front office wanting Lance and Kyle Shanahan wanting Mac Jones, and they're at supposedly butting heads, and I don't see how that's true, because if you're butting heads at who you should pick, then you shouldn't have traded for the number 3 pick. Yeah. If you don't know who it is. My guess is that Trey Lance and Mac Jones are competing for the 4th and 5th option on the draft board, because at the end of the day, you have to finish out. I think if who's the order? Hold on. Who's the order of quarterbacks in this draft? Go for it.
I think if there's any guy that they would consider other than Fields, it would be Lance. I don't think it would be Mac Jones.
Yeah, look, especially since Mac Jones is like almost to his ceiling, in my opinion. Yes. He's coming in basically supposedly pro ready, because he's so his floor and his ceiling are like this to me. Like he's almost meeting his ceiling and his to the floor. And those aren't guys you want unless they're like already like extreme elite traits, but he doesn't have any.
like Trevor Lawrence in a way.
Well, look, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, and Fields, even Lance, all have elite traits in something. Yes. If it's arm strength, if it's athleticism, if it's deep accuracy, stuff like that. Each one of those quarterbacks have some sort of elite traits where Mac Jones is just good enough to get by. And where I just don't understand is Mac Jones needs Kyle Shanahan to be successful. Kyle Shanahan does not need Mac Jones to be successful.
Right.
So why would you take an inferior talent because he fits the system per se, as in what he's had prior? Right. Of course, he's had Kirk Cousins for 3 games. He's had Matt Ryan. Those are quarterbacks that he necessarily didn't, like, he had them at that point. He didn't choose them per se because RG3 was the 3rd pick in the draft. He was 3rd or 2nd. So with the Falcons here,
this is where I think it gets interesting. This is where
the draft. The Niners, because no one necessarily knows who the Niners pick, but this is really the biggest change.
Yeah, this is where I think the draft, we start seeing how it's really going to unfold.
And so a couple of notes, and I've been doing some digging on the Falcons because they did restructure Matt Ryan's contract, which pushed more money out. But it's easily they can get out of his contract. It's not the end of the world.
Right.
If they want Trey Lance,
they'll take Trey Lance.
And
I've started to really, really hone in on it. Everyone I know it brings up Sewell. Everyone brings up Pitts, but I don't think Matt Ryan is the quarterback for this team past another year or two. And I think you agree with me when I say this. I think Trey Lance, if he sits for a year or maybe even 2, it wouldn't be the end of the world.
For him, it would be the best option.
Yeah. So I mean,
but it just depends on where they're at. Like, this is a new coaching staff, a new front office.
Yes.
Do they think they can win and make the playoffs this year, or are they like a year or 2 out? Like, they're going and reviewing the roster and they're determining, what our plan is. Like, if they're going for a future, they're not going to win this season. They'll be competitive. Then go get Lance. But if you're trying to win the playoffs with, like, to me, if I would probably go Pitts.
Right.
Personally, I just think they should just go. I think Matt Ryan's good enough to make you to the playoffs, maybe make one last run.
I just think it's very imperative they try to find that successor for Matt Ryan, and I think you have the perfect pick here to do so.
It just depends if they buy in.
And I think your offense is pretty good. Maybe you need a running back because obviously with Gurley and everything.
They can draft one.
And they can draft. That's what I'm saying. They can always draft one. But other than that, they don't. It's kind of like in the Cowboys in a sense. Do they need Pitts on offense? No. Could they take him to make their offense better? Yes. But if you're drafting for need, like we talk about the Cowboys with corner, I think their need really still is a quarterback for the future.
And to be honest with you,
and that's why I would take Lance here. But I mean, we can go.
To be honest, I'm fine with taking Lance here.
Okay.
If they're not taking a quarterback, they should trade back.
And I would agree with that exactly. If they're not, if I think a quarterback in realistic, whether it's the Falcons trade back down, say the Broncos, say the Panthers, I guess we could even throw the Patriots in that scenario, but I think they would have to give up a lot to get to 4. I think. I think the Panthers and the Broncos are more realistic options.
Well, the Broncos, I think. I don't think the Falcons will trade with the Panthers.
No, the division.
But I guess we'll go. I guess we'll agree with Trey Lance.
But yeah, I think what I basically was going to end that with was I think that quarterback does go here, whether it's the Falcons or a team trading up.
Yeah, I don't see. I like Pitts. I love Pitts. I think he's the best player in the draft. Yeah. But you're going to have the opportunity. I think this is the pick where if a team offers you like 3 ones and with this year and 2 other ones and maybe something else, then I would take it. If the Broncos came up and offered 3 ones straight up like that, I would take it.
Yep.
And you're letting yourself be competitive for this year and the future. I think it works together, especially since look, Trey Lance is a big question mark. So it depends on how they feel with that.
Yeah.
With the Bengals, I would take Sewell.
Yeah.
I think they need to build in their offensive line. They have signed some quality players, but the reason why Burrow had that injury is because he constantly kept getting hit. They have weapons. They don't need Jamar Chase, but I like to go off of what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
And it sounds like Jamar Chase is probably the pick.
I think Jamar Chase is the pick here, and I don't know that I necessarily agree with it, but I think if you can get Joe Burrow a weapon he's familiar with, on top of being probably the best receiver in this draft, maybe not the best offensive weapon. I think Pitts might be the best offensive player in this draft, but definitely the number 1 receiver in this draft. I mean, you got to take it. I mean, you really do.
And here comes the interesting part. To me, the Dolphins are picking between whoever's left between Jamar Chase and Kyle Pitts.
I think Devonta Smith is in the conversation.
Sure.
But I think, and I brought this up with Jeff a little bit earlier. I think Pitts is definitely an option here, but I think, and like he said, it's probably one of Chase or Devonta Smith, and whichever one's not there, it's probably.
See, I disagree. I think if Kitts was ranked as a receiver alone, he would be the second receiver.
My only question with the Dolphins taking Pitts, what do you do with Mike Gesicki?
He's not good.
Okay.
Have you seen his receptions after the
and
catch?
Maybe we don't think that, but what do we think the Dolphins?
I don't think they do.
That's just the only thing.
Why can't
the only
they
hang up?
I mean, look at who their head coach is. He comes from the Patriots.
Okay.
They run two
and they could
two
do
tight
that
ends,
too.
and to me, Kyle Pitts isn't a tight end. He's a weapon. He doesn't.
I know.
He's not lining up just at the tight end. He's not a blocker. I mean, he can block, but he's not gonna win in the blocking. You can put him at slot. You can play him on outside. You could put him an inline blocker. You can put him in the backfield. You're not drafting him to be a tight end. You're drafting him to be the best player, the best weapon, and that's why I think Pitts works really well with Tua.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
I'm saying Pitts.
That's fine. I'm fine taking Pitts, but I just would not be surprised if they took Devonta Smith here. But
so
Pitts. If I were drafting for the Dolphins, I would take Pitts. 100%.
And that's why I think they were okay. So reading on the article about the trade, they really wanted to get back in the top 6. Mm-hmm. And they were fine dropping back, let's say 3 spots. They think the Bengals are for sure taking Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
And so they are, in their mind, is they're going to get one of 2 players, either Jamar Chase or Kyle Pitts. And that's why I think Kyle Pitts is the pick.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
The Lions here at 7, I think they're definitely going receiver.
And I've been debating Waddle and Smith.
Sewell is there, and he is to me. If you're a bad team and you're not looking to win now, I don't think the Lions are necessarily trying to win now. They got 6-year contracts. They can take their time. I think you take the best player available, and that's Sewell in my opinion.
And I think I agree with that 100%. And if you're not going to compete and win in a Super Bowl right now with the quarterback you currently have, you at least want to protect them, and you at least want to give your team a chance down the line to build that offensive line so that they can compete in the future. And I think that makes sense.
And Goff, the biggest reason he failed last year with the Rams is because if he does not have an offensive line, he could have all the weapons in the world. But if he doesn't have an offensive line to provide him time, he gets quick feet and makes mistakes. He needs to have a good offensive line. They could easily go draft a receiver in the second.
Yeah.
Take an offensive tackle here. Make sure he has the best opportunity to be successful. Mm-hmm. What do you think, Sewell?
Yeah, I think Sewell's the pick. I would say Sewell or Slater.
I agree.
But I think Sewell is probably the pick.
And I'm okay with any of the receivers here either. Fine, that's fine.
Yeah, Smith or Waddle here, yeah.
It's crazy to see how this draft has completely changed now. Yeah. With just the Niners moving up, the Dolphins moving back, and Sewell is now supposedly falling a little bit.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And I think if you guys haven't seen it, we're going to be posting a mock draft that Chase did with Jeff Kavanaugh.
Yes.
They did a whole 32 teams, and it's pretty a really good content. Please check it out. I think Sewell fell out of the top 10.
He fell all the way to 13th. He fell 13th.
He wasn't even the first tackle taken.
Yeah, Slater went to the Giants at 11.
But that's all we're gonna say on that.
That's all I tell you. But yeah, that's some interest. It was a very interesting mock. After the first 3 picks, it got really fun, and you know what? I appreciate Jeff for it. I really did.
It was good. Yeah, it was a really good mock draft.
But the Panthers here.
Now let's think of it this way. Let's say they don't like Mac Jones.
Yeah. See, that's what I keep thinking.
I think we should play this like they. Let's say Mac Jones is not actually as good as all the hype that he's receiving right now.
Right.
Let's just say he's falling.
Yeah.
Who are they taking? They don't need a receiver. They need some defensive players. They could go Slater here.
I hate to say it, but I think they might take...
They could use a linebacker. Parsons can go here.
Parsons is an option here. I think
Surtain's
an option here. I think JOK is an option here, and I don't know that I would take him in the top 10, but I mean...
I'm okay with JOK going ahead of Micah Parsons. Yeah,
some are saying... he's starting to get a little bit more buzz ahead of Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons was considered the best linebacker in this draft by a mile.
Well,
and now he was, and now it's starting to become
the problem with Micah Parsons is he opted out of this season, and he is really good against the run, and he has trouble against the passing game. That's not how you want your linebackers to be in the new age NFL. You want them to be stout versus the run and really, really good in the pass coverage. That's why we're seeing a lot of safeties convert to linebackers like JOK. JOK was a safety, and he's converted to a linebacker. And he started his career. He's athletic as probably one of the most athletic guys in this draft. No, I'm saying Mac Jones though.
Yeah, no, I think Mac Jones just makes too much sense here. I mean, it just the Panthers need a quarterback.
We did all that
just to tell you it's Mac Jones.
Dude, if the Panthers, I would be like not happy as a Panthers fan.
No, I mean you would
as a Niners fan, I'm not happy.
Up until a while ago, like the Panthers were getting Trey Lance in some mocks, even in a couple early ones, Justin Fields, and now the fact that both of them are going before them, it's not a good thing, especially with the fact that they can't trade for Deshaun Watson now with everything going on.
And so the Broncos here.
Yes.
I think they go JOK.
You think they go linebacker here?
So I'm talking to my buddy. He's a Broncos fan, and he's all in on JOK. Okay. He wants to take him at 9.
I've always thought the Broncos would be the team that would take Surtain and mess up my dreams of a Surtain Diggs.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
But if it doesn't happen, I mean, as a Cowboys fan, I'd be thrilled about it. But
I think what they did in free agency positioned them to not need to take him at 9. They can draft one in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round, a developmental guy who can start.
You consider Von Miller more of an edge, right?
Von Miller's an edge, yeah.
Edge linebacker, okay. Mm-hmm. And then JOK would be more of the.
Well, JOK is he's an off-ball linebacker.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't like that. Or I don't like that. I don't hate that.
Should we do it?
Yeah, I think JOK would be would be good here.
The Cowboys. I'll let you. I know who you're gonna take.
Patrick Surtain. Just put it on.
If Kyle Pitts was here, it'd probably be Kyle Pitts.
If it's Kyle Pitts or Surtain for me. Those are the only two guys that I'm really considering. I know we bring up offensive tackle a lot, and Slater might be a decent option here, or you can trade down if the Patriots want to come up and in this scenario probably not because 5 quarterbacks have gone.
What's your scenario here if both Pitts and Surtain? Let's say Surtain did go at 9.
Let's say
I'm not taking Horn at 10. I don't think, in my opinion.
I would be either trying to trade down and get Horn later, like 14, 15, if the Patriots want to make a trade, or in some scenario where maybe Mac Jones falls to 10, maybe the Patriots come up and they want Mac Jones, and then you could trade down and do that as well. And I know you said that you don't think they would take J.C. Horn at 10. I would be fine with J.C. Horn or Surtain at 10. I really would.
I personally,
J.C. Horn would be my little lesser Mac Jones for you with the Niners. It's like a guy that I'm not happy with, but I still think he has a lot of potential.
The thing is, I'm looking at the other corners in this draft. I don't really see much of a difference between J.C. Horn and
Asante Samuel, Kelvin Joseph.
Exactly.
All those guys?
And Newsome. That's why I would be looking to either trade back or draft another player and then take a corner in the 2nd.
And yeah, I would not.
Let's say that you guys did trade back. You got, I don't know who you would get trading back. You can get an edge player later on in the first round.
If the Patriots have 46, so if we traded with the Patriots and got 15 and 46
I don't think you'd get 46. You'd probably get 3rd.
But this is a hypothetical.
Sure.
I mean, then
if Mac Jones is there, then yes, I agree that would happen.
At 44 and 46, you could
trade up. You could trade up in the first round.
You could even trade back out of the first round, get Newsome. You could take the best corner at 44, and then maybe go.
So if you did go 15, you could probably get the top edge guy, and then come back in the 2nd. Mm-hmm. Sorry, come back in the 1st. Mm-hmm. Trade a 2nd and a 3rd. Move into the let's say the 27th pick and take Newsome or take Asante Samuel.
And you can still keep one of your 2nd round picks and
you get 2 guys who could probably start right away.
Yeah.
I think that's a great option.
It's not the worst thing in the world.
I think that's what I would rather do that than take Horn because Horn's going to struggle his first season. He's not a guy to me. I don't think he's going to be startable. It's just he's going to take time to adapt to the NFL. Right. He's not a guy who's going to just come in and start. And to me, you're taking a guy at 10, he needs to be a starter right away, in my opinion. So at 11, the Giants, I don't necessarily see many needs on offense. They have, what's his name? Thomas at left tackle. They have Will Hernandez at guard. They have Nate Soldier. They could maybe get Slater here, put him in at right guard, and then next year plug him in at right tackle.
I think
But I think their biggest need is an edge player.
You think they would be the team that takes?
I think Phillips. No, Gregor Rousseau is falling.
You think he falls? Okay.
I
So
think
you think, either Ojolari or Phillips would be an option here?
I think Jalen Phillips is now the number one edge player.
You think so? As long as he's healthy.
As long as he's healthy.
Okay. Well, if he's healthy, then yeah, I think that's probably a good pick for them.
Do you want to go in? What do you think the Eagles will do?
For the Eagles, I've talked about linebacker for them. Parsons obviously being available here would be an option. I still think they need to get a weapon. And the fact that they have Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle on the board here, I think both of those are good options. My thing is, I think the Eagles traded back to 12 because they wanted to take a cornerback, but also possibly could take the best player available.
I think they.
So
I personally think. What do you say? Say it real quick.
I would say probably Jalen Waddle for me right here.
I think Jalen Waddle as well.
Jalen Waddle would be the pick.
He has a very Deshaun Jackson type feel, and I think he.
Yeah.
They do have a different head coach, but it still fits within the environment.
As a Cowboys fan, I hate this pick because I think
Waddle's a top 10 receiver for sure.
He's going to be an issue. But you know what? I mean, we're not talking about what we want. We're talking about what probably will happen. And the harsh reality is, you know what? We did it to the Eagles last year with CeeDee Lamb. So you know what? I mean, not that they're taking Waddle over us taking Waddle, but like they will end up getting their weapon after all. But I still like CeeDee Lamb more. But that's another conversation for another
I think they know that one of the receivers is going to be there at 12.
Yes. I think they're thinking they're going to have an option of Waddle or Smith at this point.
So with the Chargers here, it's hard because Darisaw, in my opinion, is more of a left tackle, where Slater is probably a right tackle guard.
Yeah.
I'd probably say I'd go Darisaw here.
I would probably just go Slater. I think they would just.
I just don't think he fit. He just doesn't fit at left tackle though.
I think he's just so talented. You would make him fit.
To me, I think
where you need to move him.
The thing is, I think he starts as a guard in the NFL.
Okay.
And then eventually, either he becomes an all pro at guard, which they don't have that need at the moment.
Right.
And they don't need a right tackle. They need a left tackle.
Okay.
That's where I think Darisaw, who is a left tackle, whatever. It doesn't matter to me.
I would just go Slater.
Fine. I'll go Slater, but I don't think that's the pick.
I can't see him falling any further. I think the Dolphins. I think the Chargers would be fine taking him here, just taking the best offensive linemen available, and they'll plug him in where they need to plug him in, and hope that I think the talent's there to where you could play multiple spots. But
I think the Falcons have the best option right here. Because they do have an edge need.
You mean the
Vikings.
Yes.
They do have a massive edge need, but I just don't see it happening right here. I'd go Darisaw.
Yeah, I would say Darisaw. I would say whichever of Darisaw or Slater doesn't go to 13, the other one goes to 14.
And here comes the Patriots.
This is where it gets interesting.
I mean, Devontae Smith's there.
Yeah. He's very interesting to give.
Does he fit with Cam Newton?
I'm not sure.
I mean, he had Mac Jones. I don't see why he wouldn't.
Yeah.
They did sign a ton of receivers and tight ends, but they don't have a number one. Uh-huh. I think Devontae Smith's the missing piece in that receiving core.
I also think Micah Parsons is an option here.
I just don't. I think if they're gonna draft defense, it's either gonna be a corner or a D lineman who can have interior pressure.
Okay.
So somebody like
Ojolari maybe would be another option.
Well, I would say
Barmore.
Kwity Paye is to me is the guy who I think I think Kwity Paye could play anywhere on the defensive line, and I think that if we're looking at what the Patriots do and what they draft, that's the type of player that they draft.
I believe.
But I'm gonna go. I think we should go with Devontae Smith.
Okay. I would not be surprised if Micah Parsons is a pick here, but I'm fine.
I'm okay with it. It's just. Like,
I just know that's that's just the kind of player that Bill Belichick loves. He loves his guy. He loves his off-ball linebacker.
Yep. So with that, we got the Cardinals next, and I think Horn's the guy here.
I think Horn would be the pick here.
I actually think this is where he's gonna go.
And this is where if the Cowboys were to trade with the Patriots, J.C. Horn, they could take him at 15. Sure. So that's why I like Horn here in this 14 to 16 range.
The Raiders here, the thing with the Raiders is that their issue last year was not their offense, but it was their defense. And so what they did is they completely destroyed their offensive line. to be cheaper. My guess is they're not going to draft an offensive tackle in the first. I think they go Parsons.
I'm between Parsons and Ojulari here, and I think Parsons is the pick. Yes.
The thing that I don't think they're going to go an edge player, because they did sign what's his name from Baltimore. I can't think of his name. He's an edge player. He's from He was with the Jags, and then he went to the Vikings, and then he went to yes,
Nucky Agwanike or whatever.
Yeah, something like that.
Nanik, yeah, Nanik.
Nanik.
Yeah, Nanik.
So here's the Dolphins, and what the Dolphins did in the first, they got Kyle Pitts. I think they stick on offense. I'm just trying to see, is there a player who's fallen who I see that they need? I think Cosme is probably the biggest because he's a left tackle. I don't know. I think Harris is a big question here, in my opinion.
I know.
I think Harris is the pick if he's there. He's the best player in my opinion.
I keep thinking that they shouldn't take a running back here at 18, but
it just makes too much sense.
Sounds like they will. It just makes too much sense, but it's maybe not.
It's got to be offense in my opinion. But they have to bring more talent on offense.
I don't disagree. And
what do you think, Harris?
And you give Tua. I mean, you really give Tua two great weapons in Harris and Pitts. Yeah, that's fine.
So the Washington football team. This is probably where I'm fine with Cosme.
Really?
What do you think? I mean, they're very talented. The thing that they need really is they really haven't replaced Trent Williams. Everything else on offense except for quarterback has been answered. They're probably going to take a quarterback, but not here. There's not one available. Could they reach for Trask?
They could. Trask or Mond.
Or Mills.
They very well could.
I mean, Kellen Mond could go here.
You know what?
He sits down for a season behind Ryan Fitzpatrick.
So you think Cosme
or Mond?
Can I interest you and go back to all? Can I interest you? Get there. Can I interest you in Farley?
No.
For me, I think Farley has a lot of talent.
I did a lot of digging on his injury history. There's no way I'm taking him in the first round.
Okay.
And this was this weekend. So he opted out for this season.
Yeah.
He had injury history in college. To me, if he's healthy and he played this season, he's a top 10 pick. He has a back injury.
I agree.
So I'm not taking. I'm not even touching Farley.
That was just something I brought. Yeah.
That's where the Jags are going to take up the end of the first, probably.
Ojulari is another option. I don't like Rousseau.
What do you think of that? Taking Mond here.
That'd be some sort of reach. Not a reach.
I don't know if it's a reach.
It's not, okay,
he's a second round pick for sure. He's not a first round pick.
I just think that there's a couple other guys at some positions they could take.
But look, if Mond hits, he's the future type of quarterback who teams are looking for. He's just, you think Trey Lance is raw? He is way more raw, and he's very stiff.
Right.
I think we haven't had surprises. I think Mond is the surprise. You could say no, and I'm fine with it.
I would personally give him. Go back to all. I would personally give him either
Cosme.
Okay,
let's go Cosme.
Cosme or Barmore.
I think Cosme's the guy. I don't think they can. I think they have too much.
I said Barmore. Ojulari.
Let's go Cosme.
Okay.
And now I'm going to do the same thing. The Bears. Kellen Mond.
See,
sit behind Andy Dalton for the season.
I would not hate this for the Bears. The football team. They got Heineke, so maybe they're fine with Heineke for right now.
No, I'm sorry, and this is gonna be. I just don't buy it.
No, I'm saying I think Heineke would be more. It would make more sense for the Bears to do it than it does the Washington.
Oh, really? Team. Does it?
I think so.
So you're telling
I think so.
They just love him, Heineke, for the one game that he played.
I think they like him more than we think they like him.
All right, that's fine. So what do you think of the Bears, Mond, or do you think? I mean, they need a corner, but I don't have a corner. I would trade back.
I would say Newsome would be an option here.
I would probably trade back a little bit for Newsome.
They could also trade back.
I just want to point out that the team is probably desperate for a quarterback, and if they think Mond can end up beating out Andy Dalton in camp,
There's a lot
That's
of
the
quarterbacks.
best.
There's a lot of quarterbacks in this draft who could beat Andy Dalton.
That's what I'm saying. Though
A lot of them.
that they gave Andy Dalton the chance to be the starter, but they really need to. The team is not going to make the playoffs with Andy Dalton, in my
No,
opinion.
100% they're not.
Mond, if he can just be a game manager, not turn over the ball, use his running ability to help him, they could potentially make a run in the playoffs, and that's where I would personally go Mond.
I'm fine with it. Let's get crazy.
And you know what? Those are the teams who are coaches and front offices who are very desperate to win will make mistakes and overdraft a player maybe who shouldn't have gone in the first round.
Yep.
The Colts are next.
Yeah, that's where a team would take speaking of the Bears, that's where they would probably look at Ojulari and all that. And
Sure, yeah, this is a good spot to start to grab an edge player, and this is where the Colts need it.
Yeah.
You can either go in interior pressure and get the best defensive tackle in Barrymore, or go with Ojulari. I think Ojulari is probably the guy.
I still love Osai. I know that he's not gonna probably go here, but I think
he's probably at the end of the first. He's fine as a first rounder.
He's one of my favorite edge rushers in this class, along with Ojulari.
I just think every edge player,
I just don't like Pay
guy here is just so there's something missing from them that's making them a player who's going to be good in the league. I don't know. All these edge guys could all be busts, in my opinion. They're massive question marks. So who do you want? I don't care. I can go with either one.
I would personally go with Ojulari here.
Okay.
I think that's who they would take.
So the next best player for the edge position is Joseph Osai?
I think Osai or Kwity Paye. I think Kwity Paye might be the better fit for the Titans, but I think the better player is Osai.
I feel like the Titans are stupid enough to draft Kwity Paye.
You think?
No, I'm just saying. No, Gregory Rousseau, I think, is a guy. I think they really like in those players who are overhyped.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you think
Corey Davis?
You think they'd be like, oh my God, he's a top 8, top 9 on a lot of draft
I think,
boards.
I think they're definitely drafting an edge player. What do you think, Gregory Rousseau?
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I would draft Rousseau in the second. I don't think I'd touch him in the first.
I wouldn't touch him in the first, but I can see the Titans doing it.
You want to do it?
Makes sense. Yeah, let's give him Rousseau.
The Jets here. I'm trying to think,
corner.
No, they need interior offensive line and a corner. Sure, not really too much of a need.
For me, Vera Tucker makes too much sense.
I agree. Vera Tucker, they could plug him at guard. If they need him, he could play right tackle. I think he's a guy who's probably end up being an all-pro player at the end of his career for most of his career at guard.
I think Vera Tucker just makes way too much sense here.
The Steelers, and let's reminder, they need a left tackle. I feel like they need an edge rusher.
This is where I feel Osai goes.
And they need a running back. Yeah, Osai's fine.
ATN is also an option, but I think that.
So this is where the Jags are. Their GM is Trent Baalke. He loves to draft players who are injured, who get overvalued. Do they go take the chance on Caleb Farley, or do they take one of these other corners?
I don't know that I would take. I would think Newsome would be a pick before I would take Farley here.
Asante Samuel?
Even if Melifonwu, Asante Samuel, Newsome are all guys I would still take here before Farley.
Calvin Joseph, Tyson Campbell.
And Calvin Joseph wouldn't be bad either, or Molden, or the other guy you brought up, Stokes.
Christian Barmore's still there.
But Barmore, I would.
They have pieces.
I would not be surprised if the Jags just took the best player available.
That's why I'm thinking Christian Barmore.
That's why I'm thinking Barmore.
Bad teams need to just take the best player.
And even Farley would. I know you won't take him you shouldn't take him in the first round, but I think this is the team
who if a team's gonna take him in the first, it'll be the Jaguars.
100% agree. But I would go Barmore here.
Okay, let's go. I'm fine with that. Look, you put that D line just looks really good now. They have Josh Allen. They drafted a DN last year from LSU. I can't remember his name. You put Barmore there, and now you have a quality D-line who could potentially be one of the best in the league.
Right.
The Browns here, they need edge player. They need linebacker.
You think this is where Kwity Paye goes?
No, I don't think that's a guy that they would necessarily target here. I don't think I would target any of the edge rushers at this point.
Maybe Newsome? I mean, do they need?
No, they don't. I don't see them taking corner though. Linebacker's a huge need though. So we can go Collins, or we can
you
go.
think Collins would be a first? You think Collins is a first round pick?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's Nick Bolton's my other one, but I mean
I
Jabril Cox is another
I
guy.
just I like Jamin Davis just a little. Maybe not where he goes here, but as a player, I like
in the
Jamin
second
Davis
round?
a little bit more. Yeah.
Who would you
And
like?
I don't even hate Pete Warner either. I'm starting to get a little hyped on Pete Warner as well.
I'm also really. I think
And Jabril
Jabril Cox is the
Jabril
guy
Cox.
that I really like.
Yeah.
He's a new age linebacker who comes from the safety position. He played linebacker, moved over. He's a coverage guy. If you look at Fred Warner's, their defensive coordinator was with the 49ers 2 seasons ago. So he sees that having an elite coverage linebacker is necessary in this current NFL.
Let's go ahead and give him. Let's go ahead and Nick Bolton. I think
You want to go Nick Bolton?
I think Nick Bolton's the pick. I think Nick Bolton would be the pick there.
And then the Ravens here, I think they have to go receiver still. They go sign.
Bateman.
They signed Sammy Watkins. That dude's injured most of the season. You can't rely on him. Yeah, I'd say Bateman as
I'm
well.
gonna say Bateman here.
Though
I could see Tony as well, but I think Bateman. I think he's just too good. I think he's just.
I agree.
He's a better player.
He's the best receiver next.
Yeah, before Tony, yes.
So with the Saints here, they need a corner. I don't see them taking Farley.
No, I think
Newsome's probably the pick.
I think Newsome would be the pick.
And that would
there.
probably been the pick the next team as well. So, I mean, the Packers, they could get Humphreys, who's the best center, and he fits the zone blocking scheme to a T. I would draft Humphreys.
I would say Mayfield or Humphrey.
I don't think they go tackle though.
And Tevin Jenkins is an option too.
Sure. I think their need though. Remember, they just lost their center, All-Pro center.
They gotta protect Rodgers, so or take an offensive tackle or some sort of.
I'm gonna go Humphreys
lineman here. I'm fine with
the
Humphrey.
best. To me, he's the best center, and he fits the zone blocking scheme to a T.
Okay.
So we got the Bills, and I mean, they need an edge guy. I don't like Kwity Paye though. I don't necessarily like anybody. It's probably a trade back in my opinion. Could they go Travis Etienne?
Etienne? They could. I mean, do they?
They
still
have a
believe
lot of. They have a lot of running backs though.
Zach Moss and Singletary,
But they're not
still
good.
there. And Zach
they
Moss
just
has hurt
signed.
himself.
They signed what's his name from
Damian
the Chiefs?
Williams.
Damian
from
Williams.
The Chiefs.
So they're probably not going to draft a running back in the first.
You know what? I think either Jason Owe or Kwity Paye.
I think Jason Owe. He is raw as can be. No, it's got to be Kwity Paye. There's no way. There's no way they're gonna go.
You don't think they would go with the higher upside?
Yeah, but he had 0 sacks this season.
Who, Owe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like he's a project, and they're looking to win now. Take the guy who Kwity Paye can play anywhere on the D line. He can play interior. He can play outside. He's very versatile.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay, that works.
The Chiefs here.
I would say
it's gotta be tackle, right?
I would say Jalen Mayfield.
Me too. I don't even think that's a question.
That's
like they have. I don't even know if they have their whole offensive line figured out yet.
I mean, they could go ahead and give Mahomes another weapon if they wanted to. They could go and take Tony or Elijah Moore, or even Etienne if they really wanted to get crazy.
Who's the best player available?
The best player available right now?
That's not Farley.
That's not Farley. The best player
not based off these rankings. Just who you think's the best available.
The best available, in my opinion, is either Morig or Jenkins. I mean, realistically, I think he's the best offensive lineman on the board.
What do you think about
Jamin Davis?
I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Pat Freiermuth?
Pat Freiermuth, the tight end.
I mean, OJ Howard is a free agent after the season. And then Gronk is, I don't know how long you can rely on him. You could sign it. They can move on from OJ Howard. He has been a complete disappointment.
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, that's the luxury of having this pick that they can do that.
I mean, I wouldn't hate it, but I would almost think they would trade. They would let
They'd trade back. I agree.
Yeah. But I think if they were,
I mean, they could take a Y.
I think
of any team to be successful to be able to produce him, he doesn't have to play right away. They have a lot of guys there.
Collins. I don't know.
I don't think they don't need a linebacker need. I think edge is the guy.
But the thing is, at this point, what do you look at the positions of what they have and how much longer they might keep those guys?
That's why I think edge is a big question.
Okay, so edge. Yeah, then
because JPP at some point they're gonna move on.
Yeah, then Oweh would make sense here.
And then this guy, he doesn't have to play right away.
Yeah.
The big question mark is Mound for me, because he could go in the first round. There is a huge need at quarterback for the Washington football team and the Bears. Yeah. I just don't see how Trask and Mills go. Like, if they had some sort of elite athletic profiles, then maybe you can take a raw guy in the first. Like, he's a guy that's not playing this season unless you need him to play.
Who?
Mound.
Mond? Okay.
And I have him, do you have him? I have him behind Mac Jones.
Who? Mond?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I think he's the next quarterback down.
Crap on Mac
and then it's Mills, and then it's Trask, in my opinion. Okay. I think Trask is not somebody I'm looking to really take. Supposedly the Saints are in love with him. Mm-hmm. So maybe he goes in the first or second round to the Saints, but I don't know. I don't take him in the first.
I'm still on the belief that I would not be surprised if the Bears or the Patriots trade up try to get Mac Jones in that top 10. It still is something. The Broncos trading down, Panthers maybe not, but
I got you.
I think it's still an option.
All right.
I think there's still a lot of teams that could do some trades leading up to draft day.
So check us out on our YouTube channel. We are posting a new interview with Jeff Kavanaugh from
105.3 The Fan.
It was great content, about 40 minutes. Please check it out. We're going to continue to be posting, and then we're actually looking to expand. We are looking to start our own. Looks like we're going to start our own website, and we're going to be posting our own articles.
Yes.
Something in the works that we're still working on. And then we are actually looking at maybe doing an AFP Niners account on Twitter, AFP Cowboys, and then kind of separating that from the main content.
Yeah. And then we'll obviously
so we can specialize in those things.
Yes.
Because I'm a Niners fan. He's a Cowboys fan. We talk about that a lot. And so we can maybe build an audience into those groups instead of having more of a broader audience. So with that, do you have anything to say?
No, I think we're good.
All right, guys. Thank you. Check us out on our Twitters.
Yes, check us out. Chase Aguirre and @OrtazaBlue.
Yes, sir. Bye.